Hello everyone, I'm Debbie Polachek. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be working with monochromatic art with our Stampin' Up! Supplies. I'll kind of go through what I have found that works well, and some of this you'll be able to experiment yourself. I'm going to show you how I experiment with it to find out if it will work or not with the particular color of cardstock I'm doing. I'm going to be doing it all on colored cardstock. So let's get started. Okay, Stampin' Up! Makes two different sets of watercolor pencils, and I kind of experimented with these watercolor pencils. And also you will need some water pens. They have these two that there is still, these were last year's, but they have some new ones that you can purchase for this year. And one of them I have Clorox, and the other one I have water. And like I said, I did some experimenting with the cardstock. This is Flirty Flamingo here, and it turned out real good. What I did is I just took some water, plain water, then I took a little bit of the Clorox, there and there, and I'm going to wait either by heating it up, which works a lot faster, so I'll do that real quick. Now I can see that how the color reacts to water along with the other, and I found that the Flirty Flamingo watercolor pencil is not enough color in it to do this justice. So here I've got a mellow mango, and it's a little bit dark, but it will give me a good. Now I'm gonna go back with the water, and I can see that I can get some shading out of using that, and it blends real nicely. Okay, I can go from one color to the other. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a color that bleaches out to a pretty color. Not all colors do, and I'll show you one here in a few minutes that doesn't. But that Flirty Flamingo does bleach out with a good, nice, and use it along with the Mellow Mango watercolor pencil. It works real nice. This is the Real Red. The sample here is done in Real Red. And I use Versamark because of the water. Not Versamark or either the Stays On ink. On this one I use Stays On ink. On some colors you might want to use Versamark and some black embossing powder, or in any color, white embossing powder if you like. So those are some options there. Anyway, that's the Real Red. That's what I got with that. And again, I did the same test like I did this to find out. And instead of the Real Red, I think the Cherry Cobbler works to be a better color to go with that. This is the Night of Navy cardstock and the Night of Navy pencil. And it seems to work pretty good too. It's a little bit lighter than the other, but it works okay. You can get a little bit of middle color with those two. In some cases you might want to try black. Black might work good, especially with blue colors, and see how that works. You just have to play around with it to find out what works good for you. So let's try that. Let's give you more of a contrast than the blue does, but I kind of like the blue better. Okay, and this is Bermuda Bay, and Bermuda Bay seems to work real nice. The pencil looks a lot darker than the paper, but when you throw the water on top of it, you get a nice blend. So you get your kind of a 3 shades there. Here I used, looks like the Clorox even a second time in there just to see if I could get it to bring out a little lighter, and I could. And on some cards, on some places, you might want to use it 2 times and to get the lightness that you want. So anyway, that's Bermuda Bay. This is Gorgeous Grape. Gorgeous Grape gave me a kind of a pink undertone, but it works out pretty. There's nothing wrong with the way that looks. I like that. Now this is Old Olive, an Old Olive pencil. Old Olive, when you bleach it out, it turns this yellow, which I didn't want. It's such a bright yellow too that makes it look even worse. And they don't, and this is Pear Pizzazz, but see how much prettier the undertones are in the Pear Pizzazz than they are in this one. And actually, the Old Olive, they don't have a Pear Pizzazz pencil, but the Old Olive pencil, watercolor pencil does work with that. So we can get some midtones or even darker tones with that. So that works good. So anyway, what I'm just trying to say is you will need to play around to find out how to work it with your paper and what paper that you want to use. So today, I think I will use the Bermuda Bay because I do like the way that looks. I've already done the red. This is the red. And this is going to be in another project I use, even though that would be a very good monochromatic painting because of the color that it gets so white and so pretty. And the purple is good. Actually, I did do a purple, but I added black inside the centers at the darkest level, which I didn't really care for. But the black, if I left it alone, it would have been better if I just left it alone. So it does work out nice. It kind of gives, like I said, a pink color, but that's good. The Night of Navy would be good too to play around with. You get a real dramatic look with that Night of Navy. So, do we want to play with Night of Navy or Bermuda Bay? Let's go ahead and go with the Bermuda Bay. Okay, I'm going to get my cardstock and I'm going to stamp it. Keep my Bermuda Bay pencil out, my Clorox water and regular water. Get me some water in my little bucket here. Got my stamps all set up here for some cardstock, and I'm going to get some Bermuda Bay, which could be trimmed down to fit a card real nicely. Okay, and I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to use StazOn, and I've known from messing with this. This might do stamp a little bit better because I have used Versamark on it last. But I am going to go ahead and stamp it 2 times. Hot glued my lid of my Versamark inside that lid. So I don't lose my sub lib, I guess is what you say. It's kind of a seals it up. I'm going to use my StazOn cleaner. Take that and then squirt it with some water to get the rest of it out. Okay, so how I'm going to go about this is the same way. I like to leave my Clorox down here and my water over here so I won't get mixed up where I'm at. So how I like to start off is I will, in the shadows, I will try to keep the paper dry because I don't want to, in case there's a little bit of Clorox that kind of gets mixed up on this, I don't want to go so far into the shadows, okay? So I will try to keep it dry. I want to keep this on the midtones all the way down to the ends. I'll take my Clorox and I'm not squeezing at all. I'm just letting it flow on there. And now I'm going to go ahead and take that Clorox and kind of blend it to the other. Also, on these areas here where the rows are, I like to get those as light as possible. So I'm just going to go straight for Clorox on these little areas here. And if you use your heat tool to dry this, it will work a lot faster. Okay, those are all the little highlighted areas. I like the way that's working out. It really gives me a good trade there. I think what I'm going to do though is, in order to get a little bit more, see if I can lift this a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and do it and put a little bit of highlight right through there. Same with the white. I mean the clear. I'm going to do the clear. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of a highlight there and work that out. See if I can get it lift up a little bit more. This is very nice to work with. Very nice, because it's more versatile than some of the colors are. Since it's kind of slow to fade out, it's kind of a good thing. Okay, here we go again. I'm going to go ahead and leave the darks, or leave that part of that dry. Go ahead and take that Clorox, put it a little bit there, and then I'm going to squirt some more of that water in there. Or not squirt, but I'm going to lay some more of that water in there. And try to remember to rinse out my water off my Clorox off my water pen, because I don't want that to contaminate the other. Okay, I really like on a flower, since it's like a circle, the overall shape of it is like a circle. See if I can explain something to you here. So you've got to treat it like a circle. The overall shape of it's like a circle. And so when you color a circle, the shadow side would be this side of it. Like if the sun's coming from here, the shadow side of it would be this side of it. So all your highlights, all your lowlights are actually darker on this side, just like you would. Let's do it with this right here. Just like you would here. Okay, this is going to be my water, because this is going to be my darker side. And when I keep that darker, so everything on this side will be lighter. Everything on this side will be darker. Okay, that's not quite graduated enough because it's kind of hard to blend it more with this, but as you can see, everything on this side of this flower, right in that area, will be lighter than on this side of the flower. So it's the same thing. Now each petal has its own shape as well, so you've got shape within shape. Just like anything that you would like a person's face, for instance, they have or your hands, you know, you have a flat surface here, and then, but yet some of these, like even the veins in my hands here, will show up as tunnels here. So there'll be a darker area. If the sun's come from that way, it'll be a lighter area, darker area. So all those, everything has shape. Not just, nothing is just flat. On us, on nature, nothing is flat. So I think what I'm going to do is when I get to the highlights, I'm going to go ahead and continue this area here with just what I've done here to keep it the darkest. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the light just like I did before, and then I'm going to put the water soak in there a bit. Got too much water. If I get too much water, then the whole thing's going to be bleached out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do all these. Okay, now I see that I have a little bit of area there that I went overboard. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take that darker color, or the Bermuda Bay pencil, and put it in my shadows here. And as I know already, I'm going to need the darkest shadows in this area. And what I mean by the darkest, I'm going to try to put more color, and the shadows will be longer in this area. They'll be smaller in this area, longer in this area. Okay, there's going to be a little bit of a shadow here, a little bit of a shadow on this side. So now I'm going to take just my plain water and work that in. I am not squeezing. I'm letting the water from the pen do the work for me. If you're water is too hard at your house, you can add a few grains of salt to your water and that will help soften it up. So it will flow without squeezing it. Because if you squeeze this, it will make a problem for you. Now, on another thing, when you're working with cardstock, you do not want to overwork it. You want to layer it, because if you overwork it, it's going to do, your paper's going to ball up on you, and it's not going to be, it's going to make a mess of things. Okay, now I'm going to continue. To me, this one needs to be a little darker, and actually the center of your flower is always going to be the darkest. So again, I'm going to add the water, Clorox along the top highlighted area. I got a lot of Clorox on that one. I'm going to blot that down a little bit. Just kind of fell out of my pen there. Okay. Okay, so now this is going to be probably the darkest part of my flower because it goes inside of a cup here. But still, going to get this lighter. Keep that neutral color in there. Work that lighter here and on this side. And I'm going to take that darkest one and be sure and go in there real good and dark. Again with my water. Okay, now on these, this side looks like it's going to need to be a little bit darker, but yet it's going to be a little bit brighter too, because the highlight is going to definitely hit it. The lightest area is going to definitely hit it here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put my water, put my Clorox, try to work some of that water off there. See what I got with that. That's pretty soft, so I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time on this end here, a smaller area than I already got it. Okay, now if I'd have done a little bit of water first, that would have even been better. So I'm going to do it right this time, see if that helped. Not very much. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and use a little bit of this pencil, just lightly touch that pencil to there, and see if I can correct it that way. Get rid of that hard line that I just did. And I think that will work out okay. Okay, now where do I see that I think I need a little bit more highlight? I think I need a little bit more highlight in that area here on this darker side. So I'm going to use the water, a little bit of Clorox, and I'm going to make it about right in that area there. You're kind of blindly doing this. Okay, so here we go. Water, Clorox, and the highlightest and the lightest areas. I can see that I'd like to have this a little bit lighter here, but yet not as light as what this other is. So I'm going to be sure and put plenty of water there. And just add a little bit more in that area there. Then I'm going to add my darks to that. And if I wanted to, I could even add like little little lines of veins, maybe even, if I wanted to, all along here. If I wanted to add little veins, I could. I think that looks kind of good on this one. And I don't think you necessarily have to use water on that if you don't want to, but you can. Let's see what it does. Okay, here we go. Water. Try to avoid the darkest area. Put my Clorox here. Try to blend that Clorox out a bit. I'm going to work through this and do the same thing over and over again. Water, Clorox. Looks like I got a little Clorox in my water. That's probably going to be one of the lightest petals right there. Water. This part of it would probably be a little bit lighter than the other side of it, because this part of it's kind of bent over and in shadow. Okay. Water. It's going to be pretty nice and light right in here. Water. Shadow. I mean, highlight. Water. Highlight. I think I'm going to go ahead and add some more water to this one. And highlight to this edge here. I got some rough edges here, but I can fix that in a little bit. I do want this one to be a little bit lighter again, so I'm going to put my water here. Add some more Clorox to the edge of this. Probably a little bit more on this one. A little bit more on this one. A little bit more on this one, this top of this one. I probably want some more lights in here. And I will stick the water on there first, so it doesn't get too light. Again, I am not squeezing either one of these. I'm just letting it flow out. I think I will actually take a little bit of water across this one and highlight it all the way across the top too. On the very edge. Okay, I like this a little bit lighter in here. So as you can see, I'm just looking for all my lights to be light enough. Now I'm going to take my darker and I'm going to go ahead and work that in. I know I don't want, probably want a little bit of dark in here. A little bit of dark in here, and I just kind of want to softly do it there because I got a little bit carried away with that one, so I'll just put a little bit there, a little bit there and there. Now, if I want to do the veins, I can. Probably would like some here and here. Go ahead and do it there. Okay. Back with my water. Okay, now I'm going to look and see. I think I've got my lights pretty well where I want them. I mean, I can nick and pick a little bit more, but I'm not going to. But I do want to go ahead and add some darker in here. And in here. In my darkest shadows. Pencil sharpener. This GT Gala is a pretty nice sharpener for our pencils. Okay. Blend that color a little bit out. Okay, now with our little buds here, same thing, they're little circles. So that's mainly what I'm going to worry about. I'm just going to make them little circles. So I'm going to take my clear. Go ahead and rinse this out, make sure I ain't got no Clorox in there. I'm going to take my clear, give it a, make it like a ball again. And put the lighted area on one side. I'll do all of these. Same way. Dark on this side. Gonna be lighter on this side with the Clorox. Same with these. Dark on this side. Lighter on this side with the Clorox. I work left-handed, so I always like my lighter side coming from the left-hand side. Usually people with the right hand like their lights coming from the other side, so you'll just have to work with yours the way you want to. Now I could decide if I want those any lighter or not. Maybe a little bit lighter, particularly on this side, again, because this is the lighter side. I'm just going to put a little bit of light on the tips of those. Looks so pretty. I'm going to put a little bit on that one too. But I think I will brush it with water first so I don't get it quite as bright. Okay, now on the leaves, they're more flat. So we're thinking about a leaf is usually darker in the center. On one side it's usually darker than the other. Like for instance, I would say this side of the leaf is lighter than this side because this one's kind of folding this way. So I'm going to put my water in. And I'm going to put the Clorox on this veined area here. Maybe a little bit there. And work that out. This one I would think is darker in here, a little bit lighter on both edges. This one's kind of dark everywhere, so I'm going to leave that part of it kind of dark, and a little bit of light on this side here. This one's pretty dark in here. Comes up lighter. It hits the light the most, probably right in here for me. And here maybe. Let's just go ahead and put a little bit on the edge just to make the variation. Okay, while we have it, we might as well do this one. This is going to be a little bit darker leaf because it's on the shadow side of the flower. And it'll be the most light probably here and here on the sides. Add some water. Okay, let's give that a go. I do want to go ahead and add some Remuda Bay to these too. I don't want to add veins like I did the thing, so I'm just going to make little circles wherever I think the deepest shadows would be. Definitely around this flower here. Probably in the center. Let's see a little bit on the edge here. Definitely on this one, pretty good. On the shadow side of these flowers. Okay, what I kind of like to do in order to see my shadows and my lights the best is to look at this with a different eye. And the best way I know to do that is to take a picture of it, and if I need to, I can put it in gray, black and white to tell, but this is kind of a neutral, it's a monochromatic deal anyway, so I probably pretty well can tell just by looking at the picture in this state. So I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of that and come back and see what I need to do. Okay, what I could see from my photo that I couldn't see with my eye is I think I've got my shadows too dark on these 3 flowers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to lift that pencil out, and so what I'll do is just do it, and even this is a little bit too dark, so I'm just putting just straight of water and just blotting that out, and see, it did get some of that blue out of there. So I'm going to try that just to lift some of that color out. Now it's going to look darker now because of the paper being wet. This is that spot that needed a little attention, but hopefully that'll be enough. And I also seen that I like to have this leaf right here, since it's kind of facing the light a bit more than this leaf. I'm going to go ahead and lighten this one up a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and take my water, put it in there, do a little bit more of the Clorox again, and dry that. I'm going to dry that all, and hopefully that'll be. Now I'm going to snap a picture of that again and see what I think. Okay, I could get a little more nitpicky with it, but I won't. But anyway, I think that's pretty good. So what I'll do next is I'm going to take a little block here. I'm going to put a drop of Versamark on my block, the ink re-inker. Just one small drop. I'm going to take a stylist. No, I'm going to take a pokey tool because the stylist is a little bit too big. And I'm just going to make some little dots. I don't care if they're right where they're supposed to be or not. I'm just making dots. And I'm putting about 3 or 4 of them down before I stop. These should be real tiny with this little stylus. I'm going to get me some white embossing powder. Is some of our Wink of Stella. And I'm going to put it all on these flowers here, just the flowers. I'm just put it all over every one of them. And I think that will be real pretty. It'll give it a little bit of a shimmer. Okay. I'm sure you're not able to see that on camera, but I will dry that and I'll show you another picture of that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you'll go ahead and subscribe and give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. All your orders would be appreciated. Thank you. Come back soon. Bye-bye.